Everybody, welcome back to the channel, and thank you so much for everybody and your support, with the channel and just tuning in, because it's a beautiful day. So we're taking a walk again. Just head on my way back on this 2-mile trail. You guys always say how much you like me walking in this park, so decided to come on out here and make another video. But what we want to talk about today is gold and silver. Now, the gold and silver market has been destroying U.S. stocks and everything else. And if you want to know when the time was to buy gold and silver, it was 2015 to 2016. Really, we had that one bull market, but that kind of sold off. And I'm not saying this is going to continue, because as I've said, your point of maximum opportunity with gold and silver is over with. You could have been buying gold well under $2,000 an ounce. You could have under $20 an ounce. I could have as well. During COVID, it got down under 15, even though the supply was drying up. If you were able to buy, you could have got it under $15 spot when COVID hit. That was about 5 years ago. So people have had an opportunity, even just 5 years ago, 5 to 10 years ago in that time frame, to accumulate gold and silver. Now, it can sell off again. It can go back down to these levels. Silver is about to hit an all-time high. If you go back to the all-time highs back in, I believe it was the 2008 financial crisis, around 2010, 2011, silver hit around 48 or 50 bucks a share. Now, I think the equivalent inflation-adjusted price would have been about 200 bucks per share, maybe back in the 70s or 80s, if I'm not mistaken. So if we hit $200 silver, that would be, I guess, the true inflation-adjusted all-time high, from my understanding. But in terms of the actual price, we hit like 50 bucks a share almost back in the 2010, 2011 time frame. So silver is just now breaking out to its all-time high. Meanwhile, as we predicted, when Newmont was trading under 40 bucks a share, that was a stock that we used to talk about, even a couple years ago. And not all my videos are on here anymore. I've kind of readjusted and rebranded the channel. But silver and gold have always been something that you can argue over the last 5 or 10 years has been under the radar. Stocks have taken off. The tech market, Nvidia, Tesla, all the big names have made their runs. And Palantir, for example, if you give me a choice between finding a stock like Palantir or Nvidia and actually going for the gold and silver market and trying to buy gold and silver and get rich that way, I'm going to choose Nvidia any day of the week. I'm going to choose Palantir because that's where your true opportunity is. But in the midst of that, if you have gold and silver as commodities, which have been doing well, what do you think is going to happen to the mining stocks? Newmont Mining's in the $80 per share now, plus headed towards 90 very quickly. And this is a stock that used to pay a 5+% dividend yield, and they used to be under 40 bucks a share. So you've not only doubled your money, but imagine if you were buying back then, you were getting those juicy dividend yields that have now carried you. I mean, the yield is now about 1%. They did have one single dividend cut, but nonetheless, it's been a good run. And so that's just an example of what you can see happen when it comes to stocks like Newmont Mining, which were under the radar for a long time. But that's why Warren Buffett always says that patience is the name of the game. It's taken patience, and investors in gold and silver have been patient. And let's be completely honest, individuals who have waited this long for a return in gold and silver definitely deserve it. And I'm not one of those individuals who went crazy. I have a tiny bit of mining stocks that I bought when I had a Wells Fargo portfolio, but it's not much, right? I had an E-Trade portfolio as well, which I shut down, but I had, I think a couple gold mining stocks in that one. But, some of the investors, though, maybe you were one of them, who went heavy on gold and silver mining stocks, because a lot of these are now just taking off. And we've talked about some of those stocks like Barrick Gold, Newmont, Royal Gold. We've talked about Harmony. We've talked about USAS, or US American Gold Corporation, Gold and Silver Corporation. So that's another one. And so there's all these great companies out here related to gold and silver and related to the market. But the question is, which ones should you buy? And I think at this point, your biggest opportunity, and I'm not going to mention any specific names, but I want you to do your research and find opportunities that are under $1 billion or even $500 million in market cap. So we're going small cap to the point of junior miners, potential development stage miners. And I want you to think about what types of stocks under these market cap conditions are going to be the best types of returns. You know, so you can afford a house like this in the background someday. But, you know, maybe if you're leveraged enough on these stocks, right? But at the same time, like, think about this. If you have a market cap of less than $100 million or a market cap of less than $500 million and the chart looks good and you haven't really had a big parabolic spike, because the problem is that it's turned into a momentum trade with gold and silver itself, and additionally the mining stocks, because of the fact that they've gone up so much, many of them. So you need to be the one that goes beyond the typical hype and noise of the general nature of these stocks, which have already, a lot of them more than doubled in value. On top of gold and silver practically doubling, silver is pretty much doubled from the 20s, right? And gold from, I guess, 1500 is well more than doubled from 2000 even. The previous all-time high has now hit about 4,000, but that's just now approaching 100%. And so the problem we have in the mining space in particular is that a lot of these stocks have already gone up more than 100%. So they've already, you know, went way past. And that's what I mean by the leverage, is how much leverage do you have on these stocks and how much are you planning on investing, because some of these have already had the momentum shifted in their favor. So your goal as an investor should be to find those stocks that don't have the momentum shifted yet. You want to find the ones that nobody has picked up on, or very few people have picked up on, and hopefully that will allow you to find those undervalued opportunities, because I guarantee they're still out there. It's just a matter of finding the stocks that nobody has picked up on yet in the gold and silver space that are, let's say, under $100 million market cap. They might trade on the OTC market. They might trade on the riskier exchanges. They might trade on the NASDAQ, but they might be so under the radar that not a lot of people are thinking about them, and therefore the stock hasn't gone parabolic yet, like a lot of the other gold and silver mining stocks. So that's what I would say to answer the question, what is your best opportunity in the gold and silver mining space? I would say that's your best opportunity now. And I would recommend that, you know, if you're looking for an opportunity to, you know, have the most amount of potential return, you want to find those opportunities that nobody's really thinking of and that have kind of slipped by while other investors have bought the other stocks that have gone way up. Because what's going to happen is some of those same investors will take that money and reinvest it into the smaller cap companies. We've seen like this recycling pattern where a lot of investors, not just in the gold and silver space, but in other markets, will often take those profits and reinvest it into other companies. So that's what you want to look for. But I'm curious what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know what junior miners, and I'm talking under the radar, stocks that are not going parabolic, but are kind of like, you know, sitting in the sidelines and are, you know, kind of maybe the Wild West, but nobody's really talking about these mines, or, you know, nobody's really talking about these opportunities. Let me know what those are in the comments down below. I'm curious what you guys think. Thank you so much for tuning in on this beautiful day. Once again, uploaded a few videos today. We talked about small caps earlier. This is still considered small caps, but now we're narrowing it down even further, and we're talking about gold and silver mining stocks. That's another opportunity that, once again, if you just take a look at where these stocks have traded, I mean, we are already seeing momentum. It's really a momentum trade at this point. So just be careful with some of the names, but at the same time, there's still going to be opportunities out there that maybe have not made a big move yet. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. God bless. Take care out there. Stay safe, you know, and stay warm as the weather starts to get cooler. It's a nice day today. That's why I came out here, and I probably walked around 3 or 4 miles in this park just making videos for you guys. But I'm going to head back to the house now and cool off a little bit because, yeah, it is a hot one today. So anyway, guys, thanks so much. Take care out there, and we will see you in the next one.